Hi everyone, welcome to the very first episode of OnDeck, a podcast about modern board gaming in the Philippines. I am Glory, or G, from the Boardgamer PH.
And I'm Blue B.
So we started the Instagram account, the Boardgamer PH, last year, right? Last year.
Yeah, last year lang.
And we usually just showcase our board game sessions with our friends there. So, we decided to start it because nabobore na kami sa buhay namin. And since I played a lot of board games, we decided to just take a picture of them and talk about the games. And now we are expanding to podcasting to delve into the games in more detail. Also, I personally find podcasts really interesting. I know there's already a number of other podcasts about modern board gaming, but I think wala pa masyado about Philippine board gaming. And it's very interesting kasi board gaming here in the Philippines is still very fresh. Actually, it started with Avalon, Dixit, and other social deduction games like Coup and Werewolf. So it's still relatively new.
Well, not really. I guess it's gaining traction. Because there are a lot of people who are playing hardcore board games when we were studying in cafes before. Makita namin naglalaro sila ng mga intense game. And we were wondering what they were doing.
Yes, that's true. But what I mean is it's relatively new in the mainstream area.
Yeah, I guess so. Kasi parang lahat nagsistart with Avalon. That's when they start getting addicted to board games.
Okay, so just to start this podcast, just to start this first episode, I think we should just do a bit of introduction. Introduction of ourselves.
But we just introduced ourselves.
No, I mean like, okay, so I am Glory. I own the games that we usually play. I'm the one who got into the hobby back when we were studying for the bar exams. And like I said, we started playing because nabobore na kami, studying for the bar. My first board game was Dixit and Bang the Dice game. But the first game I ever played was Avalon, like I said. It all started with Avalon.
I'm Blue. I've never paid for any board game.
That's true. She has never contributed to any board game.
Yep, but I like playing them because I'm Glory's playmate.
So, since I am the one who owns the board games, I usually study them. So, I am the host. I study the rule book. I watch the reviews. I watch the tutorials. And I just get my friends into the hobby. But yes, that's true. I usually play with Blue all the time. I usually test new games with Blue. And her presence actually helps me because it helps me introduce the game to a bigger audience. So for this podcast, we have several segments prepared, but this will definitely change throughout the course of the podcast. So depending on ano bang trip namin gawin. So for now, what we'll do is we'll talk about what we've recently played. We'll also feature a game. More specifically, we'll dive down into a particular game. And we will also talk about something that I've let go from the collection. So, I'm sorry in advance if there are any hiccups in terms of the audio quality. I'm still experimenting on the equipment that I'm using. So, first of all, it's also important to disclose that I don't portray myself as any kind of expert when it comes to board games. Since I've only started back in 2014, I'm not really an expert. I don't know the history of the hobby, but I am an enthusiast, definitely. So, since 2014, I'm now on my 5th year in the hobby. So, what we'll talk about will also definitely be influenced by what I usually watch and who I usually listen to. So, with that, I guess let's start the first segment. So what have we been playing? So this segment, we'll just talk about our recent plays. Okay, so the first game is Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition. So Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition is a cooperative game from Fantasy Flight Games. And it's an app-driven game wherein the players are investigators or
Investigators.
no, like they're investigating something. They're investigating a enigma.
Enigma.
Yeah. Sa Time Stories ba yun?
Time stories yung Enigma.
Okay, so basically, the Mansions of Madness is a Cthulhu-themed, app-driven cooperative game wherein you explore a mansion, like I say, Mansions of Madness, and you try to solve a mystery.
Yeah, it is solving a mystery.
Okay, so we've only played Cycle of Eternity and Escape from Innsmouth.
Mm-hmm.
Because the other scenarios in the base game are around 3 hours to 4 hours long.
Yeah, medyo nakaka-stress pag nakita mo sa introduction na ganun kahaba. Kasi parang, wait, do I have that much time?
Yeah, and actually the last scenario, the Rising Tide, is it Rising Tide? It's, I think, 6 hours long, can go up to 6 hours long. So the idea there is that you pause the game and just go about your day and then come back to the game. So we've played Cycle of Eternity with different people around 2 to 3 times, right? Same with Escape from Yes. But the thing about this game is it's not a one and done deal. Hindi siya consumable like Time Stories. So you can play the scenario again and there will be enough variability so that it doesn't exactly feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, in Cycle of Eternity, nag-start kami nung una, nasa malaki kaming foyer. And then, yung second one, maliit na lang na room, right?
Yes.
And the appearance of the monsters also nagva-vary. What type of monsters will appear will vary. Actually, I'm not sure if I can say this. It's kind of a spoiler.
No, don't say if it's a spoiler.
It's not, okay, fine. Our first run of Cycle of Eternity, we didn't do something, and therefore it heavily changed the course of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But for the second one, we did the opposite of how we ran the first play.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely very different yung ending.
Yeah, very different yung ending. But I think what I noticed from playing it, merong mga, may certain aspects dun sa story na pareho lang.
Yes.
But yung mag-iiba is how, like, magkakaroon ng ibang place, ibang monster, how to defeat them, medyo iba. But the general story of that specific episode ba tawag dun?
Scenario.
Scenario. Medyo pareho.
But the thing about Mansions of Madness kasi is that it's not really story-driven. Unlike Time Stories, where you really have to be invested in the story. In Mansions of Madness, it's really the game mechanic.
Well, that's true. Parang the story is not as detailed as Time Stories.
Yeah. So, I have the Beyond the Threshold expansion, and I'm also considering buying the Horrific Journeys expansion kasi it has a traitor mechanic. Diba, in the base game, kapag naging insane ka, you can be a traitor.
Yeah.
So, in Horrific Journeys, I'm not sure how it plays out, but something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Pero nakaka-hassle yun. Hassle yun pag team play, tas may traitor pala.
Yes, that's true. So, I love the app of Mansions of Madness. It's actually, it has been flawless for me. I know some people have experienced some glitches with the app, but personally, wala pa kami nagiging problema.
That's true. Very seamless siya. And we would recommend to play it if kaya sa TV kasi mas masaya siya.
Yeah.
I mean, okay din naman pag iPad or phone, but it's really nice to see it spread out in a television.
And also, we also recommend watching Rodney Smith's Watch It Play tutorial because it can be daunting. The rule book can be daunting, but if you just give Rodney Smith one go over the rule book once, you're good to go.
That's true. I like Rodney Smith kasi parang nakat down niya talaga yung learning time.
A gripe of this game though is that the miniatures don't stay in their bases.
Yeah, parang kailangan mong i-mighty bond, which sucks kasi I think this is an expensive game. I
Yes,
mean, it's pretty expensive.
It's pretty expensive, and I don't know how they could have executed it better. Kasi the thing is, kaya sila nasa base, meron siyang information at the bottom of the, meron siyang name, meron siyang life, meron siyang konting information at the bottom of the base. So, for me, I think it could have been executed in a better way, that we don't have to resort to doing a mighty bond.
Yeah.
Diba?
That's true. Pero now that I think about it, parang hindi ko naman masyado binabasa yung information sa ilalim.
Definitely, ako rin, hindi ko siya masyado binabasa. Kasi, what you need to check there is, well, meron sila sometimes special action, but also their hit points. It's shown in the app. Their horror check.
That's true. But I think parang pwede namang what do you call this? Parang meron ka lang cheat guide. It doesn't have to be at the base of the monsters. But, ang galing naman. I think kaya siya expensive kasi yung itsura ng monsters very detailed. I mean, if you like painting your miniatures, medyo cool yun kasi talagang detailed siya. But, kami, we don't like to paint it. Pero maganda pa rin siya.
Okay, so next game that we've played is Dixit. We played Dixit because we recently got the 10th anniversary edition.
I love Dixit.
Yeah.
As in,
So, Dixit was the very first game that I owned. Do you remember that?
Talaga? Not Avalon?
Not Avalon. It was
Oh.
Dixit. Kasi my friend already had Avalon, so for me, I didn't need to get it.
That's true. I like Dixit.
But I still got Avalon eventually. But still, Dixit was my first game. So I got the 2016 base game. It just went up to 6 players.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a couple of expansions. I can't remember their names. And then when I went to Spain, I got the Dixit Odyssey. Because it's not language dependent. So it was fine wherever you got it. And I saw a board game store while I was walking, and I just went inside, and the only game that I could buy, because nga it's not language dependent, everything else was in Spanish, but the only game that I could buy was Dixit. And I saw that they had Dixit Odyssey, which was already sold out here. Actually, it was discontinued because it was the older version. It's the one that went up to 12 players.
Actually, hindi ko na maalala kung ano yung mga differences ng expansions mo. What I like about Dixit is basta ihalo-halo mo lahat ng cards na meron and mas masaya pa siya.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter like what expansion you get because they're all nice.
Yeah. Actually, especially the 10th anniversary, may parang glitter part siya.
Yeah, because the 10th anniversary edition is actually extra special because it's a collaboration of all the other artists of Dixit. Kasi every expansion is by a different artist, so they all collaborated to make the 10th anniversary edition. But my problem with Dixit is I cannot fit them all in one box. Especially since I sleeve all my cards.
Yeah, and you bought a lot of expansions.
Yeah, but not everything. I still have a couple more, but I don't plan to get them anymore. Kasi nga, I forgot which ones I got, so baka madoble lang. But what I did was I placed all the cards in one base game box, and then I placed all the pegs and the bunnies inside the 10th anniversary box. So for now, it's full. It cannot fit any more cards. So I think that's it for my Dixit expansions. Unless I find a better storage solution.
But I think you have more than enough. I mean,
That's true. We don't go through all the cards at any given day. At any given game. Kahit na 12 players pa kami.
yeah. As in, may piles and piles of cards on the table. Na pwede, as in, split na. Kasi, kunyari, madami ng players. Meron sa side ng iba, meron sa side namin. Kasi, super dami na nga niyang cards.
Yeah. Okay. So, next game is Detective, a modern crime board game. So, I am a fan of a whodunit kind of game. The problem, though, is I haven't been having the best of luck. It started with Deadline. Do you remember Deadline?
No.
Yung kailangan mong i-match yung symbols. And there's also a story. It's case 1 to 12. And we only did case 1 to 3, I think.
Are you sure you played that with me?
Yes, I played that with you. So the first case, we played that together, just the two of us. And it was fun. It was actually fun. Because we were able to work on the symbols to get the clue. But then, we played it again, 4 of us. And it was horrible. Remember?
No.
Okay.
Oh! Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah. So, now we tried Detective, a modern crime board game. And it sucks. For us, at least. Right? I know a lot of people like the game. That's why I bought it, actually. But for us, we didn't really like our first run. First of all, there's a website. And you have to have internet the whole time you do the run, you have to have stable internet. So there's this website that contains all the information about all the characters and all the clues. And you have to interface with the website. And Detective is very time-based, 'di ba? Parang every action will cost you time. And if you exceed 5 p.m., you get stress tokens because you did overtime. To go to a particular location, you interact with a particular clue in a particular location, and to go to that location requires time, and to do that action requires time. So, basically, in one day, halos wala ka masyado magagawa. But the thing with Detective also is that since you're interfacing with the website, I don't know why, parang ayaw na lang makinig ng mga tao. Ang ginagawa nila is, they just look at their own phones. They look at the website themselves. Right? So, nawawala yung interaction among the players.
Yeah, that's true. Kasi ano siya cooperative game, but you tend to just try to solve it on your own because you have the means to just read through the website. And kung ano man yung ginagawa ng team, you can just click it. Parang hindi ka na nakikinig dun sa person who is reading it for the group. So, medyo parang kanya-kanya.
Napansin ko rin is that the story of Detective, although very well written, is not as immersive. Parang, okay, daming moments na kape-kape lang. Alam mo yun, parang ang daming unnecessary details.
Yeah.
So if already your attention span is getting lost, then mas lalo kang mawawala when you listen to someone talk about this story na sobrang haba.
Yeah, but I guess it really depends on the interest. Kasi we played with two litigators ba? Or 3 litigators, and they really enjoyed it. Kasi parang for them,
Oh, they did?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, okay.
But it was
So
really...
tayong dalawa lang yan.
Yeah, I really got bored. But they enjoyed it. As in, parang for them talaga, it's puzzle. Para siyang puzzle, and it's problem solving. You get one piece, and you find the other piece to connect it to until you see the big picture, and you see the solution, the cause of the issue. Basta, natuwa sila, ako hindi.
I posted this on Instagram, and ang suggestion ng one person there is that we should follow the roles So apparently you assign roles. So someone is in charge of the app and the other people do something else. Para lahat involved in the discovery of the person, of the mystery.
Or maybe maganda din pag, like, ano yung sinuggest ko kanina sa Mansions of Madness. Baka maganda din siya pag naka-project siya sa TV kung kaya. Para at least everyone can see what's happening sa website.
Mm-hmm.
Kesa
Maybe.
yung parang kanya-kanya na cellphone. Eh, ang liit ng cellphone.
Yeah.
iPad sometimes, kung madami kayo sa team, malit din yun.
Okay, so I guess we'll give this another go.
Okay siya lang. Hindi ako sasali. I really didn't like it. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll try to find people who's willing to go through the first scenario again with me.
Ask the litigators to join you.
So there is a sequel to this game, LA Crimes. I just heard this. Pero honestly, I'm more interested in getting Chronicles of Crime. It's supposedly a streamlined version of Detective. It's not by the same maker, but it's the same theme. Who done it then? But ang maganda dito is you don't interact. I'm not sure if you interact with an app separately, but how you interact with the clues is through VR. May sinascan ka na code.
Wait lang. Maybe this is a stupid question. Bakit ang tawag ay who done it? But hindi who did it?
I don't know.
Sounds weird.
Okay.
Sorry, probably weird.
Okay, the last game that we've played recently is a new game by Blue Orange Games called Slide Quest. Okay, so in Slide Quest, it's a 2019 game, so it's really new. And probably our favorite of our recent plays, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I really enjoyed it. Usually, I don't like dexterity games, pero ito, masaya siya.
Okay, so what you do here is you are guiding. It's a cooperative dexterity game, by the way. So what you do is you guide a knight. Meron kang space wherein isa-slide mo yung board using little pegs. Not pegs. What's that? Planks. Using planks. Isa-slide mo para yung knight gumalaw. And either kailangan niya i-follow yung path of light or kailangan niyang i-defeat yung boss by pushing the boss towards holes on the board, right? So that's it. So you can do the base game comes with 20 different quest maps, but you can do the mega game from 1 to 20, or you can do mini games like 1 to 5 lang. At the end of the every fifth quest, there's a boss level. So it was really fun. As in, I posted this on Instagram. You can check it out. It really looks fun. And it really is fun.
Naintindihan niyo ba yung description niya sa board game?
Hindi mo siya maintindihan. Mahirap siya intindihin. But it's actually very different. Kasi usually ang dexterity games, it's either stacking game or flicking game. This is different. It's a sliding game. Wala pa akong alam na ibang game na parang ganito.
Basta parang board siya na nakapatong sa basta pinapress mo siya eh. Tapos pag pinress mo yung isang portion, magtitilt yung board game to your side. So imagine 4 corners na pwede mong i-press para magtilt yung board to your side or to the other side.
Yeah.
So it's really a cooperative game.
So you can play this solo as well. You can control all 4 planks, or you can play it with 2, with 3, or with 4. So, there. Oh, actually, we have another recent play, which is Time Stories Lumen Fide expansion.
Oh yeah, we just played that pala.
Yeah, we just played that. Actually, this is our second run, but not because we ran out of time units, but because our first run was terrible.
I wasn't part of that run. Maybe
Okay.
that's why terrible.
Whatever. But we just decided to do a do-over. We have 2 different players now, and it went really well. I really like it.
Thank you very much.
Do you like Lumen Fide?
Well,
Don't spoil anything.
Yeah, I'm not spoiling anything, pero I hate spoilers. But Hindi ko pa siya super gusto kasi we're just scratching the surface, I think.
We're actually halfway, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Parang feeling ko we're just scratching the surface. As in, we just remember the characters, naglilay down yung foundation, yung story. But what really happened, parang wala pa talaga.
Okay, so Lumen Fide, this is the most highly,
I guess.
yeah, most highly,
Highly, just pick highly.
okay, highest rated.
Okay.
This is the highest rated expansion for Time Story.
I really liked Expedition. Actually, hindi. I like the first part of Expedition.
Yeah.
Pero parang yung latter part kasi na Expedition, biglang meh, compared to sa first part. So, I'm curious bakit ito yung pinakamataas.
Okay, so that's it for the recent plays. We now move on to our game feature. So, since it is May 2, do you think they'll be able to guess our game feature?
Because,
May 2, 2019.
Dahil May 2? I don't think so.
Yeah, but I mean, thereabouts. Okay, fine.
That's a weird clue.
Okay, fine.
How about then?
Okay, so
So,
our
hindi
our game feature is Game of Thrones, a board game. So, just a brief background. I got this game when I was just a beginner board game. Beginner board gamer. So, back then, I was playing Dixit, Splendor, Pandemic, Ticket to Ride. Those are the games I was playing.
Mm-hmm.
Carcassonne, yan.
It's just that we love Game of Thrones.
So, the IP really interested me. And so, I decided to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But then, pagbukas ko pa lang ng box, nakita ko na sobrang kapal nung rulebook niya.
Actually, feeling ko hindi lang doon ka na-deter eh. Pag tingin mo pa lang doon sa box kung gaano katagal yung playtime. Medyo matagal, di ba?
No, I knew that coming in. I always read reviews before buying a game. I knew it was a long game. Actually, ang alam ko pa nun is that you can't play it with less than 3. So, that was already medyo on the fence na ako nun kasi I usually just play with you. But, nisip ko, hindi, kaya yan. Makakahanap ako ng people who like Game of Thrones and aaralin namin tong game na to.
But really, we were just playing with other people na Avalon, Dixit. So, medyo...
Exploding Kittens.
Yeah, so medyo mahirap maghanap ng kalaban sa Game of Thrones na.
Oh no, this was before Exploding Kittens pa pala. Love Letters, yan.
Yeah.
So, I closed that box, placed it back on my shelf, and I didn't open it until recently. So, I opened it because I was already considering selling the game. Kasi now, I have, I usually taper off to 150 games. But sometimes I reach more than that. Whenever I breach that 150 mark, I try to sell games that I haven't been playing or I think I've grown out of. So, itong Game of Thrones, kahit di ko pa siya nalalaro, sa inis ko na hindi ko pa siya nalalaro ng matagal, gusto ko na lang siyang ibenta. So, buti na lang, hindi ko siya binenta.
Yeah, because it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I think this is one of the best or the most fulfilling games to play that I own at least. So it's a brain burner. It's a brain burner not because it's complicated. It's more of it's fiddly. Marami siyang little rules na nuance. That's why every time we play Game of Thrones, I discover something that we've been doing wrong.
Ilang beses na ba natin nalaro Game of Thrones? We started playing it last year, no?
Yeah. I'm not sure how many times we've played it. I just remember specific games that we've played. So, yun, it's not complicated. It's not like Euro games na ang hirap mag-grasp. It's very easy to grasp. There are actually just 3 phases. There's the Westeros phase, there's the planning phase, the action phase, and the cleanup phase. May cleanup phase ba? I can't remember the phases. Basta there's a Westeros phase where you just prepare the game. You just prepare the specific mechanics of that particular round. And then there's the planning phase wherein you place your order tokens where your figures are. And then there's the action part wherein you by turn order you go through the actions that you gave to your figures. So that's it. That's the gameplay. It's just that there are a lot of little rules that you have to remember, like port rules, like yung siege figure, di siya pwede pang defend, pwede lang siya pang attack, and worth 4 lang siya kapag castle or fortress, right?
Yeah, to be honest, if you're the type of board game play, tsatsagain yung rule book. I mean, I'm very thankful that Glory likes to read the rule books and learn the game so she can teach it to other people like me. Kasi, but actually, when you learn the rules, it makes sense eh. It's just that medyo parang yun talaga yung daunting, yung maaralin mo yung rules at maalala mo siya.
So, during our first play, kaya namin siya sobrang nagustuhan was because the actions that we took as the player. Oh, by the way, in this game, you act as one of the houses. So you can be a Stark. So the base game, you can be a Stark, a Greyjoy, a Lannister, a Baratheon, a Tyrell, or a Martell. So 6 players, up to 6 players.
6 talaga?
Yeah.
Okay.
Up to 6 players for the base game. You start at your different houses. So that's the Starks are in Winterfell, Greyjoys are in Pike, Tyrells are in Highgarden, and Martells are in Dorne, so on and so forth. So what we found very interesting during our first game is that whatever action we took seemed so in line with the first season of the series, right?
Yeah.
As in, what will happen is that it's so intuitive for the Lannisters and the Greyjoy to be in alliance because they're so close to each other, and instead of being a threat to each other, so support na lang ni Lannister si Greyjoy na i-attack niya si Stark in Winterfell, and isa-support na lang ni Greyjoy si Lannister to attack Baratheon on the opposite side. So, yun. So, sobrang nakakaaliw na sobra siyang sakto dun sa series.
And ako, first play ko was Stark ako. And I realized na vast pala talaga yung kingdom ng Stark. Kaya, at the start of first season, I think, they were only, parang yung squabbles lang. I'm not sure if it's the first season, but yung squabbles lang between the houses nasa Lannister area or like the Baratheon area. Kasi malayo si Stark. And the only way to get through the Winterfell area is through the Greyjoys, no? Tama? No, Tully.
Tully.
Tully, basta.
Not Tully. The twins.
Yeah.
Free. That bridge.
Free ba?
Free.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. Medyo makakalimutin din ako.
Okay. So, our first run of the game was really, really good. As in, so sobrang saya namin, we played the game again the very next week, right?
Talaga?
Yes, we played the game the very next week. So, the first run was really good. We were 5 players then. I was House Tyrell and I won. And then,
kaya pala really good kasi she won.
No, it was really good. Otherwise, we wouldn't have played it again. And then, after reading about the game, kasi nga sobrang gusto namin, I read about it more, and I realized that I won because of the flaw of the game. Since we are not in the complete complement of 6 players, it was very easy for me to expand my territory and get the 7 castles. I'll just expand in the Dornish area. And no one can stop me. Lannister is far, Baratheon is far.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, it was the downfall of the game. So, what we did was, our second play, 6 players kami. And it was a really bad run because nagkapikunan kami.
Sila lang, hindi ako.
Wait, napikon ka rin?
Not because of the game. Because parang people were attacking me. No, not people. G was attacking me. Like, on a personal level. Sino di mapipikon doon? It's not really about the game. I rarely get pissed when it's about the game.
Okay. First of all, the Starks and the Greyjoys were in alliance during this game. And it was so unnatural. Anyway, the Martells won. But imagine 4.5 hours. We were playing for 4.5 hours. And we were so BV after that we decided not to play it for a long time. But shortly after that, I got the Feast for Crows expansion for the shorter playtime. The Feast for Crows is parang it adds the House Arryn, and it also comes up with a different winning condition. So instead of collecting 7 castles or fortresses, you have very specific objectives. And you only play the House Arryn, Baratheon, Lannister, and Greyjoy. So, it's limited to 4 players. So, kahit na hindi kayo all 6, masikip pa rin yung map. Kasi, yung 4 houses lang na yun yung naglalaro. So, I really like this expansion. For me, it's, if you want to get that Game of Thrones feel, but you only have 1.5 hours or 2 hours, I think this is a must-buy expansion.
I don't think I've played this expansion.
You haven't played it. My only gripe is, you use the House Tyrell pieces for House Arryn. And I didn't like that. Because nakakalito siya.
So, hindi man lang sila nagbigay ng...
No, it's a small expansion. It's just a pack of cards.
Yeah, but how much is it?
It's like, what, $15 in Amazon?
So, around 750 pesos.
Yeah, so it's just a pack of cards. Medyo understandable that you had to use it. So, now, this brings us to my latest purchase, which is the Mother of Dragons expansion. And oh my god, I love this expansion. The Mother of Dragons expansion introduces House Targaryen, yay, I love Daenerys, and also includes the official pieces for House Arryn. The light blue pieces are for House Arryn. It also introduces the Vassal module, which enables you to play the base game with less players. So, base game meaning same winning condition of getting 7 castles or fortresses. But you can play it with less players. Because the vassal expansion introduces the neutral houses, which other players can control. You played this!
I know I played this, but for others who haven't played it, medyo magulo yun.
Okay, so in Game of Thrones, there's the Iron Throne track. There are 3 tracks. The Iron Throne track, the Valyrian Steel track. No, that's not what it's called. But the Valyrian Steel token and also the Raven.
No, I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the Vassal.
Yeah. So, the people who are above the Iron Throne track, they get to control the vassals. The houses that aren't in play. They get to control that. The only limitation is that you can't attack the vassal that you're controlling, and the vassal cannot attack you. So basically, if you're controlling a vassal, what you want to do is for that vassal to move away so that you can take their territory. You can take their castle or their fortress. You can also use the vassal to attack other people.
Yeah, or you can use the vassal to support your actions. Especially when your house is actually attacking another house.
Yes. But for me, yes, the vassal module is very interesting. It adds another layer to an already epic game. But the star of the show is House Targaryen.
Targaryen ang una namin itong nilaro.
So the House Targaryen, it's not just the House Targaryen. It's actually a whole extension of the map of Essos. So House Targaryen starts at Pentos. And House Targaryen also comes with 3 dragons. Okay? But, caveat lang, it's not an automatic win even if you have the dragons. Because the dragons start out as baby dragons who are weak.
Yeah, just like in the series. But wait lang, I-explain ko lang. When we were picking the houses, I proposed na mag-draw lots kami. But no, since she's the owner daw, and she won't play it if she's not House Targaryen, we were forced to pick other houses except Targaryen.
I think that's justified because I own the game. And I want our first try of the Mother of Dragons expansion to be me as House Targaryen, okay?
But okay, of course, hindi naman niya malalaro yun without us.
Okay, so the House Targaryen player has a different winning objective. So she doesn't care about castles or fortresses. She doesn't want that. What she wants is to get her alliances in check in Westeros. So, what House Targaryen needs to do is to cross the narrow sea and get those alliance tokens on Westeros map, while everyone else is are battling it out to get the 7 castles or fortresses. So it's very, very interesting. There's actually another module within the game box, the expansion, wherein you can combine the Feast for Crows expansion and the Dance with Dragons expansion together with this expansion and create an epic, a new epic game. Not a new game, but like a more epic game. So for me, I don't think I would want to play Game of Thrones without the Mother of Dragons expansion. Not just because of House Targaryen, but actually just with the Vassal module. First of all, I can now play it with just 3 players. And that's a win for me. Because it's very hard to get 6 players or kahit 5 players together and who are willing to go through this experience. Because it really is an experience. Our last run of Game of Thrones with the Mother of Dragons expansion lasted for 6 hours.
I also really like this expansion dahil may other element siya na House Targaryen. Hindi niya kasi kapareho yung other houses ng objective. So this time, instead of just fixating on observing other people's moves kung saan ilang na yung castle nila, meron ka pang kailangang i-check dahil iba nga ang goal ni Targaryen. So that's really interesting for me.
So it's actually, if you're not House Targaryen, you have to weigh whether you will be in alliance with House Targaryen so that you won't be attacked by the dragons, or will you actively prevent House Targaryen from reaching her goal. So yes, there. GOT will definitely stay in my collection for a long time. As long as I have friends who are willing to play it. And yes, you can play House Targaryen next time, okay?
And in the future, if she decides to sell it, I'll just buy it from her. At least it's cheaper.
So there. So, and also the Mother of Dragons expansion is a must buy. If you want to only buy one expansion though for this game, I think the Mother of Dragons expansion.
Really? I think it really depends on what kind of board gamer you are. So if you can spend hours on a board game, yeah, maybe the Mother of Dragons. But if you can just give mga 2 hours, I guess the Feast of Crows. I've never played it, but based on...
I guess, but you would want to play with the dragons.
Sobra siyang Team Daenerys.
Okay, so that's it for the game feature. We'll now move on to the next segment, which is, I am provisionally calling it Snipping Time. So in this segment, I talk about a game that I recently let go from my collection. Or kahit hindi naman recently, but a game that I've let go from my collection. So for today, we'll talk about Lords of Waterdeep. and why we finally got rid of Lords of Waterdeep. So Lords of Waterdeep is a Dungeons and Dragons themed worker placement game. I'm not a Dungeons and Dragons fan, but I know it's not really Dungeons and Dragons. It's an offshoot from D&D. So it's a worker placement game wherein you do quests, you collect cubes, you exchange cubes to get more cubes to fulfill a quest. Right? So it's very simple. It's very traditional worker placement wherein there's a place your worker phase and there's a cleanup phase where you get all your workers and start again. So I held off on trading this because Blue really likes it.
Yep, super gusto ko yung game kahit medyo
Fighty, warfare.
I mean, it's worker placement, so masaya siya. And ito yung first ko atang laro na worker placement, right?
Yes. Both of us.
Yeah. And for some weird reason, kahit hindi ko maintindihan masyado yung ibang aspects ng game. I mean, not the aspect, but like kung ano yung dinedescribe ng mga cards. It was really easy to learn.
Yeah, it's very, very basic. It's a tried and true type of worker placement. And I know a lot of people really like this game. But during my last play, I knew I've outgrown the game. It just didn't make sense anymore. Get this cube, exchange this cube, and it's actually, ang description pa nila is, get a cleric. And, alam mo yan, diba, they're supposed to be talagang people, the cube. But since there were just cubes, it didn't really make sense to me. So, finally, Blue said, we can sell it. I can sell it. Even though it's my game, Blue finally said yes to selling the game. Because of the Raiders of the North Sea, which is now probably our favorite worker placement game. But not just Raiders of the North Sea. Actually, when I got Agricola Family Edition, which is also a tried and true worker placement, put your worker cleanup phase. Diba? Also viticulture. But when I got Agricola Family Edition, I knew that it replaced that niche of worker placement that Lords of Waterdeep has. Because it's so easy to get into and the theme is so relatable that this can be the first worker placement game of beginner players, which I've actually done with a lot of new gamers.
Ako, Raiders of the North Sea talaga. After playing that game, tas sobrang ganda pa ng coins. Tas it's easier to understand. I mean, the concept, the story, it's easier to understand. Parang coins or cubes? Yung coins na parang totoong coins or cubes na kunwaring tao? I'd prefer.
And also, I have some other better worker placement games, in my opinion at least, like Viticulture and also Champions of Midgard, which is also very different. Champions of Midgard naman, your workers are your dice, right? And instead of farming, what you're doing is you're killing monsters. Since it's a Viking themed worker placement game. But for me, Agricola Family Edition talaga yung nag-fill ng niche na yon na meron si Lords of Waterdeep. And so, since hindi na naman ako makarelate sa theme, and mas cute yung mga little sheep, little pig, and little cows ng Agricola Family Edition, I decided to sell Lords of Waterdeep. So there. That's why I finally got rid of Lords of Waterdeep. And I know it's still a loved game until now, and I understand. Especially if you're invested in the theme, I very much understand. But for me, it was time to move on. Okay, so if you've made it this far, you have reached the end of our podcast, our very first podcast. If you are interested to check out our board game collection and experiences, you can check out the Boardgamer PH on Instagram. Also, if you want to hear from us again, just follow us here on Podbean.
We hope you enjoyed.
Okay, guys. Thank you. Bye.